All right, what's up, guys? How is everyone doing? I don't even know what today's date is. What's today's date? It is May 30th, 2019. This is episode 4 of the Healthy Gossip podcast. I think 28 if you were listening to the Krystle Chats podcast. It's a very special episode for me today. In the studio, I have brought the magnificent Jason Wrobel to venture down this hour-long journey of the healthy gossip with me. And this week we have Paul Antonio, our in-house. I'm just gonna call you the sound engineer.
The
I,
sound guy, producer.
the in-house
I like the big
producer.
titles. They're like
Okay.
easy executive producer of, and it means nothing. We're just in a back room in Koreatown, but
Well, he's the wearer of
You know,
golden headphones.
this is
I
where
mean-
magic happens. So before I let's recap a little bit. So if you've been listening, the first 2 episodes, Jason, let me just recap, like give you a little summary. It was I kind of got my feelings hurt. So I spent 2 hours of episodes just kind of like talking about my dating life, and getting back on Bumble and, all the different gentleman callers I was dealing with. And it was really juicy. And so because my idea of the healthy gossip is so many people have this. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are spreading like, oh, like, it contradicts itself. It's like, don't talk about people or whatever because, it's bad. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a certain way you talk about people.
Yeah.
It's not just not talking about them. You have to talk about them. What do you think therapists make all their money for? Like,
For
you
sure.
want to talk about your personal problems. So that's what I also wanted I got a little bit of like celebrity gossip in the mix every once in a while, just to try to do it in a healthy way. And then, of course, how you and I know each other, I want to talk about just healthy lifestyle in general, like physically and along with mentally. So I do have, I do a healthy tip of the week this week. It's just kind of going to be like a healthy-ish episode. And yeah. Oh, and then to basically recap my dating life, because I've been so transparent. I was on an edible when I listened to episode 2. And let me tell you, I was like, ooh. If you don't know this about me, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. And he said it too. He was like, you just listen to yourself back. He's like, you hate it, but then you just do better. And I'm like, wow. I was like, I don't know to think if I'm just a whore or if I'm just too like, non-traditional or whatever. But which actually brings me to, did you watch that Colin Quinn CNN special?
I have not.
Oh my God. Did you watch it, Paul?
no.
Oh my God. It was amazing. Like, I want to see him live. So, but do you know who that is?
I do know who Colin Quinn is. I'm very familiar, yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't really know much about him, but man, okay, so he brought up this one point that I think is relatable today about how as a generation or just a society, we're having too much sex. Well, because so his argument was that like back in the day we used to go on honeymoons and it was all ooh like the ladies back when they were like honeymoon because that was basically like the first time that we would have sex, or how like movies used to be about these men just trying to get a kiss.
Right.
Like the whole movie was like, is he gonna get that kiss? Like, please. And then he's making fun of all the guys in the background dancing, like, just give him a kiss. And now it's like a blowjob is it's like I feel like we can talk about that too, but basically I feel like women are more open to like having protected sex than they are blowjobs. I am one of those women who's like, I don't want to put my mouth on genitalia because I mean, maybe with a condom, but I've never given a blowjob with a condom on it. I know, right? It's weird. And is that weird? Okay, we can talk about that.
Blowjobs with condoms sounds
Awful.
I don't think anyone's ever even proposed that to me.
Okay, good.
And if they had, it would just be like, what is the
What's the point?
like I'm super clean, like I smell good, I'm cool. Like is it my dick or is it just dicks in general? Because there's a line there. Is it just generally you don't want dicks in your mouth,
No,
or a dick you don't know?
no, I think yeah, it's a dick you
A
don't
dick you don't
know. It's
know.
a dick you don't know. It's also a dick that like you don't know if you're gonna have a relationship with. It's a certain time. No, it's like it's a casual dick.
So okay,
Relationships dick. No, suck it all day. Like
okay.
whatever.
So am I to gather then, like, is this an intimacy thing that, like, protected sex you find perhaps being less intimate per se than giving somebody head? Is it an intimacy thing?
Yes.
It's an intimacy thing.
Yes, because like to me, with protected sex, if you're actually careful, like you're not exchanging any bodily fluids, it's just kind of like it's almost like a dildo with a body attached to it.
That's good.
On
Never
that
heard
note.
it. Never heard it phrased that way.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into it, okay, and then along with my dating journey, I like to give tips, and I would love for you to add in on this. So my one tip is, I had a situation with a guy who he seems so like still depressed about a last relationship,
Mm.
I tweeted this today, basically like if you're not, it doesn't matter if you're damaged, it doesn't matter if you have like a broken heart, but and if you've decided, okay, I want to start dating, like the step is to be present. Like if you're going to try it, like even though you think, oh, I don't know if I can move on yet, at least if you are going to try to move on, just be present
Hmm.
there. Like, don't like constantly check your phone, don't keep talking about that person, because then it's like, dude, and then like I'm not even really dating you, I'm just a friend at this point, like trying to help you get through it. And then another thing, like, do you agree with that?
I mean, my whole thing, like, if we're talking about just presence in general, whether or not it's related to the ex, I kind of feel like if somebody's just not there with me and their attention is distracted on whatever, their work, their ex, whatever, like bullshit, drama, whatever the thing
That's
is.
so true.
And it's like, and the reason I respect presence so much, it's cool that you brought this up, is like the people saying like the busy excuse nowadays to me is like crying wolf. Like nobody gets to use the busy excuse. We're all fucking busy. I'm busy. Everybody, take a number, right? So I know that if like you are carving out time to see me, right? First of all, like, or I'm carving out time to see you in my schedule, like, that's automatically a win, right? But it's not just enough to be like, oh, I made time for you, babe. Like, no, but were you with me? Like, were you
Yeah,
with me?
I
Because
like
just
that.
being like physically present, that's not enough. But like, if you're giving me your energy and you actually like are pushing out all the other distractions to actually spend quality time, right? That's one of the love
Yes,
languages. Like,
exactly.
quality time means like you're here. Like you're not
Yes.
just physically here. Like your presence is here. Your attention is here.
Yes, yes. And that's exactly what our situation was too, because him and I were kind of like we I still work in Orange County. So when I'm here, I know.
What the fuck?
I spend the night there when I'm there. So it's like I'm almost still living in two places. And I always tell people, what if I start dating them, like I'm like right now I'm like an airline pilot. I'm gonna be gone for a few days, but I'll be back. And then so if we're gonna go on a date once a week, like I expect that date to be like let's really connect,
Yeah.
and let's hang out. Let's hang out, and we went on a date, and we were at a comedy show, and he kind of was sitting like kind of behind me a little bit, just because of the way the comedy shows and bars are always kind of hard. And but every time I looked over my shoulder, I felt like he was like looking at his phone.
Mm.
And that's fine. I mean, but as a comic, I was really just more. I didn't even care about myself at that point. I cared about the comics, because I'm like, dude, like the sad thing is that he's kind of a comic, and like he's not an active one right now, but he understands the game. And
Yeah.
like if you look up as a comic and you see just even anybody on your phone, like it's just disrespectful, and especially if there's not that many people in the room. Anyways, okay, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, that's the tip. And another tip is, I'm not a dude, so I don't know what the whole. Everyone's different. Everyone. It doesn't matter, dude, girl, trans, whatever. Like, I hung out with somebody, and they said, "Don't worry," or something like that. We'll see each other again. I promise.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was like, okay, what? Mind you, it was over text, right? But in my mind, I was like, I don't talk to me like you're obligated or you're doing me a favor. You know, I can't wait to see you again, or when's the next time I'm going to see you, or am I going to be lucky enough to see you again? But yeah, it was like, we'll see each other again. I promise.
Don't worry. I know you're up at night thinking about this, but I can reassure you, I will be seeing you again. I promise.
That's such like a fucking spineless thing to say to so like, wow, I feel like a lady now.
You know,
I feel like a lady.
I told him that too because this is coming from a guy who had like been begging, like he's like asking for attention, like, hey, like don't give up on this, because it was somebody who lived in Orange County, and I was like, dude, I'm not moving back to Orange County. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that right now. And unless you want to move to LA eventually, like I wouldn't even try this, honestly. And that's actually how that ended, because I was like, this is kind of a waste. This is a wash. Let's just chalk it up as an L. You're a nice person, but and this is another reason why I'm so happy it's you, because I wanted to talk about, this is one of the things on my little to-do list here, is
Okay.
the fuck yes or it's a no.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
boy.
he wasn't a fuck yes. So I'm like, dude, like you're not it. So I don't even want to like try to make you it. And then at this point, he was showing me some of his insecurities, and I don't know if that little comment that he made was him trying to backtrack or move forward or something. It was just a mess, and I was just like, you know, at the end of the day, that was it. That's how I closed the deal in my head. I'm like, it's not a fuck yes. So let's just stop this right now. And that was my other tip. It's like, just the minute you feel like you're trying to make someone feel like you're doing them a favor, all right, pal, like it's just no, like okay.
Then you get into like the sympathy fuck realm, and you get into like all kinds of weird areas that don't feel good, right? And the thing
Yes.
about the fuck yes is interesting, right? Because and tell me if you've ever done this, like in the whole whatever self-help fucking namaste world that we're both dabble in. It's like, well, make a list of all the qualities you want to manifest in a partner.
Yes.
And then really, and then meditate on that list every day and speak it into existence. And
Yes.
God, Allah, Buddha, Gonzo the Muppet will deliver it to you. Whatever you believe in will deliver it. Manifest that shit, girl. But for real, like in my experience, I have made lists, and I have met people that on paper were dope as fuck. Like,
Oh, yeah.
on paper, it was
Me
like,
too.
oh, you're wifey. You meet all the boxes check off. But the energy wasn't right.
Absolutely.
So people can check off all the boxes they want, right? All the criteria, however sordid and bizarre and weird your criteria is. Mine, I have a few weird things. But if the energy ain't right, it's a no-go.
Oh,
It's a no-go.
Absolutely. I spent the Orange County guy, man. That he was quintessential. That just like,
All the boxes.
I mean, because like you did fitness together. We like dabbled in nutrition, and like he minded his own business when it. Well, that was actually one of the problems, is when it came to like my crystals and my mysticism stuff. He did get a little just like, I don't need you to participate, but at least be down with it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Be like, I get it. Like, all right, go like fucking align your chakras, bitch. Like whatever. Like, but just and just let me do my thing and not feel like I'm being woo woo.
For sure.
And that so that's actually, we met what, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, we
6?
met. Well, here's how. Okay, let's take it way back, right? So
I know
you were
exactly
friends.
how
You
we
were
met.
friends with Brittany Littleton.
Yeah.
And then I saw
Shout
you.
out to Sugar Taco.
Yes, so good. Yeah, if y'all haven't been yet, oh my god, right? Holy shit! I'm
Dude.
taking my dog on because she's doing the dog pop up. Did you
Oh,
know that
yes,
on
I'm gonna
Sunday?
go. I'll be
You-
there.
I will
I'll
too.
be
I'm
there.
bringing Bella. Our dogs will finally meet. That's great.
Yes.
So yeah, Brittany, friend of ours, owns a great taco shop. Saw you through her feed. Y'all were working at Giuliano's together.
Okay.
And then I saw you on TV on Restaurant Startup because you were doing
No
Baby's
way.
Badass Burgers. And I remember texting him like, Krystle, did I just see you on TV? And you're like, yeah.
But
And you did the
don't
sad face. I'm
remember-
like, I ain't judging, girl. I ain't judging.
You don't know our first transaction? Our very first transaction?
I remember our first date. By the way, spoiler
Our-
alert, we've been on 2 dates, everyone.
Our first...
Spoiler alert.
Our first... And that's actually our first transaction was... He was my first Man Crush Monday.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were like, I've never been anybody's
you
Man Crush Monday before. And I
Holy
was
shit.
like...
You were? Yeah, that was so sweet.
Yeah.
You inaugurated me. That was sweet.
Yeah.
And then I asked you out and we went to Sun Cafe and then we made did we make pudding at your apartment? We made
No.
chocolate. We made something.
We
What the
made
smooth
raw vegan anchovies.
Oh, it's anchovies.
Because you were like, there's no way
That's
you've got
right.
dulse up in your
Dulse.
apartment. Dulse.
And you fucking did.
Yeah, I was like, you don't know how woke I am, motherfucker. Like, that's what I love about my relationship with Jason is because, like, I feel like we're part of that small community that was, like, woke before woke was, like, a trend, you know?
Before the hashtag.
Right.
Before the hashtag.
Before the hashtag, right? As I was always huge in the raw world, like that was always my like thing, and then so that's actually we can actually get into that. So one of my first questions to you is like, so what I love so much about Jason is he's plant based, but he's super thick in education when it comes. Pun intended. But
I was
I've
about
never
to go
seen
where
his-
she's saying this.
I've
like,
never seen his dick, so I don't know. I hope it's a pun. But yeah, that's another thing I love about Jason is like him and I would never went there. So it's like we don't have to. We can talk about anything because it's not. I feel like once you have sex with somebody or even like make out, like you get this weird like are they gonna be jealous if I talk about this? At least I am because like it doesn't matter if I don't even like the person anymore. And like if we've exchanged physical like a transaction, I just feel sort of still like attached.
really?
Not and it's literally like a maybe like a brain chemistry thing where it just like ticks a little bit. Like right now, I guarantee you 100,000% if I ever got back with my ex, the Orange County one, like just push me over a ledge. Be like, girl, you can't figure life out. Because I know it's not right for me. And
Yeah.
I know that's nothing that I need. But I can tell you, if I ever saw him like walking around somewhere with another girl, I would still be a little jealous. Just a little. But that doesn't mean I want him.
Yeah.
But there would be that little like beat in my heart that like skips a beat where I'm like, oh, you know, because I remember the last time I even saw him, we were sitting across the table from each other, and I was trying so hard not to cry because it's like, man, like I really thought that we could have been it, and we weren't. And now I know 100% that I'm blessed beyond my wildest dreams to not be with that man anymore. But that's my explanation of like how I feel. So now you know if we ever do hook up and you're talking about a girl and like let's say 20 years down the road, like let's say we hooked up tomorrow, 20 years down the road, and you're talking about a girl, and no, in my heart, I'm just a little jealous.
20
Just
years
a
from
little.
now.
Well, like if we like, you know, remain friends and like, you know, maybe we're at a gathering with our kids or something. I don't know. I'm just telling you. I'd be
Damn,
like, hey,
Krystle.
I'd be like, that
This
kid,
is-
that kid was supposed to be mine.
Did you see how she just stacked that?
Ding.
She's like, if we have sex tomorrow,
Yeah,
then 20
okay.
years from now with our kid.
No. I know. I'm saying if we just hooked up and then we'd never talked, like we didn't date.
Oh, and
And
we
then-
didn't have kids.
And we had kids with other people.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about our kids. I was like, wow, this
No.
is.
No, I
Getting
see
very
this is why
serious very
communication
quickly.
can be jumbled.
And
quite
that's
quickly.
why I ask
Yeah.
follow-up questions. Like, I don't
Oh,
want to assume
no.
shit.
No. I'm saying like if we hooked up and then we just moved on with our lives and then
20 years later.
Yeah, and then we
Dig.
ran into each other. Yeah, I'd be like, hey, you know, we still had that thing. We had that thing.
We did.
Okay, so we haven't had a thing yet.
In
so-
some other alternate reality.
Yeah.
We did. we kept before you date. See, we actually started dating some alternate universe
Yeah.
before you went on to Lambo Dude. Because after you and I
Mm.
went on dates, then you started dating Lambo Dude, and I was like, I can't compete with a Lambo and a big Colombian dick, so I'm just gonna back off.
I can't believe you called him Lambo, dude. That's so funny.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone else
Like
on the
Lambo dude with
on the
chorizo.
Instagram streets call him the race car driver.
It's a hard thing
Shout
to
out.
compete with.
Well, you know,
Unless you just
it-
try not to
no,
compete at
that-
all,
and
and
that's
then you're just, I'm not gonna even try.
and that's the thing is that he isn't even competition because he's the wrong person.
Legit. Ooh,
Yep.
that's a quotable. That's a tweetable from
That's
this
it.
one.
Boom.
He ain't even competition because he's the wrong
Boom.
person.
Boom. And that's something that I learned. You know that I was once upon a time sober. I'm not right now. That's juicy that I've never said that on this podcast.
I'm glad you did.
But
I'm glad you did.
one thing that I learned is that someone told me too that they said if he is the one, he'll still be the one a year from now.
That's real.
Mm-hmm.
That's real.
Yeah.
And also like then that means we don't need to stress or rush things or get all hung up in our heads
No.
because indeed I think if the bond is on the level
Oh, for sure.
that even the dumb shit and the insecurities we all have aren't
Yep.
going to fuck that up, right? So you think about going into something like, oh, are my insecurities and the blah blah and the stuff, and if I show them how fucked up because we're all fucked. Like, let's just be honest from the get go.
Oh
Like, I
yeah.
have something in my stand up set where I talk about this, where it's like the first 3 to 6 months, right? Like, or the first date, you're showing up not as you're showing up as your PR rep. Like,
Yeah.
well, Krystle, you
yes.
know, I graduated with a 4.0 from Columbia, and I rescued some Syrian refugees in a radio flyer cart. I have 5 animals I've rescued at home, and I actually tithe 30%
Did you really
of
go
my.
to Columbia?
I did.
I didn't know
for
that.
film school, and then I changed my major to
Oh.
acting, and then changed my major to marketing and acting.
I didn't know that you
Just a
went to
little-
Columbia.
And I actually did get a 4.0. I'm not bullshitting about that.
Well, I can.
Not bullshitting
I'm not.
about that.
I
No
don't.
one gives a fuck anymore.
I
Like, oh, you got a
don't
4.0.
deny-
Wow.
I don't question that you're 4.0 smart, intelligent, etc. I just didn't know you went to Columbia.
Did, yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, but the first like 3 to 6 months, we're on this thing of like, let's not show anybody our demons and our darkness. Hey, babe, everything's great. And then 6 months down the road, you're like, oh yeah, you're the dude now. You're showing up with like armpit stains covered in cat hair with kale chips stuck in your tooth, stinking like weed. Right? And it's like, I'm going to show you that. Like, yeah, I'm kind of a messy, fucked up dude, and I'm going to show you my demons pretty early on so that there's not this surprise later on, like, whoa, didn't know
Right.
he was dealing with abandonment issues from his dad. Let's just get
Right.
that out of the way right away.
And I'm glad that you said from your dad, because having issues from, like, for me, like my mom is someone who's very involved in my life.
We've talked about this.
So, that's different than X damage, you know,
Oh,
like
for
if you're,
sure.
you know, so like there's different types of, you're always going to have baggage, but there is certain baggage that you should probably like leave at the door before you walk into another door.
For sure.
You know, so just to be clear on that, because since communication seems to be something that we're like, I need to make clear. Yeah, absolutely. A PR rep, man. That's good. I
Know what I'm
like
saying?
it. I like that a lot. Okay. So, that's what I want to talk to you about, the healthy food. Are you hitting any macros right now? Like, are you on like a high fat, or are you on like a high carb, or what's your nutrition intake like these days?
Well, it's a bit. So I'm kind of getting back on track with it because I actually did a 40-day cleanse
I
recently.
saw that. Tell me about that.
So the 40-day cleanse was basically like I knew I needed a hard reset. It had been a hot minute since I cleaned the shit out, literally and
and
figuratively.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
sorry to cut you off, but just to let you know, he's not drinking out of the plastic bottles. He's got his own.
I'm trying to keep those plastic bottles out of the belly of a baby whale.
Yeah.
I saw a thing today about this whale washed up on the shore and like its entire stomach was just plastic, and I'm
Oh,
like, what the
God.
fuck have we done to this
we
planet? That's a
just-
whole nother
Can
subject.
we just put these
Just
away?
another nihilism. But yeah,
Let's pretend those were never there.
we're eco-friendly now. The macros. I'm okay. So off this
Yeah.
40-day cleanse, right? It was
Well, what was it?
so it was this thing where it was basically like eating ultra clean food, like basically like steamed vegetables, soups, raw food, like doing high raw, all
juicy.
organic. I was taking a bunch of supplements to help detox like glyphosate and heavy metals and things like that. And I didn't do it to lose weight. It wasn't like I need to lose weight, but my abs did come back, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing, guys? Good to see. It's been a minute.
For
It's
sure.
been a minute. I like seeing you. The penis pointers have come back. You know the penis pointers?
Oh, fuck yeah.
fucking
The hip.
the hip things.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, that's
absolutely.
good. That's good. We can use that to our advantage in the dating world. We'll get to that in a second. But the cleanse ended like 2 weeks ago, and since I'm back on, I'm still eating super clean. I'm not craving junk food. I'm not craving sugar. In fact, like chocolate has been kind of like my Achilles heel. Like I love me some damn dark chocolate. Love that shit. But I actually had a chocolate bar recently.
My bad thing when I was raw was just eating the raw chocolate out of the jar.
Out of the jar.
That was so bad.
That's not bad. I
Well,
mean,
it's bad when you have like a sugar sensitivity.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I've noticed that like my craving for sugar is substantially less than it used to be because like on the real, whenever I feel like lonely, sad, abandoned, just went through a breakup, like my go-to traditionally has always been sweets. Like you take me to the ice cream parlor, take me to get chocolate, take me to get churros, like let's bond. Let's trauma bond, babe.
Yeah.
Let's trauma bond over food.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to do that as much anymore. You know, I'm
Okay.
trying to like face my shit and not not pound. I'm Polish, Puerto Rican, Spaniard, Jew from Detroit. That's a lot of layers there. But the thing in Detroit was punchkis. Punchkis were a thing in Detroit.
I've never heard
It's
of
a
that.
thing called Fat Tuesday. Before Good Friday, there's
Okay.
Fat Tuesday. Fat Tuesday, you go to the bakery, you get the jelly cream filled fried pies called punchkis, and you eat a box of them. So that's where I came from. You eat a box of punchkis when you're sad. You eat a box of punchkis when you want to trauma bond with somebody. So instead of that, I'm like, oh, we're going to talk about our feelings now.
Well, I'm
We're gonna talk.
Filipino. We wake up to bread, and then we start our meal with bread, and then when we're chilling, it's bread, like just bread, bread, bread. And then we're not France where we have bakeries, you know, where everything comes from like heirloom wheat. No. We are like the barrio. Like, dang, like what factory did this come from, and what is this sprayed with, and where'd they get this white sugar and butter and cheese that's crusted on top of this GMO bread? Like bad.
It hurts so good, though.
Yeah,
so
you know,
good.
I'm not eating very healthy right now, and I will say, like, the only thing that I find cool about not eating healthy, and I get it, but that's another cool thing about being woke, is is woke bitch, is that I have the gift of being able to water fast if I need to. You know, I can. And I have the discipline to cleanse when need be, which is something that other people don't have. So right now it's cool. Like if I want to go and eat a bunch of fries and brownies and then sugary drinks that have been beyond pasteurized, and like I'm like, hey, I feel fine until, you know, I look in the mirror and I see my gut, and then I'm like, all right, let's do something about it. I can turn it on, which I have done. I'm actually starting to, like, the first thing I cut was caffeine. Caffeine's going. And then yesterday at Sugar Taco, I did have the protein that wasn't gluten-free because I was like, I know I'm going to be on a cleanse soon too, just because summer is coming and I'm vain and I like to look really sexy, and we'll get into like physical attraction and all that soon because I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, so that's something that I feel like is a gift that I'm able to live in almost like two different worlds where
sure.
like I know what it feels like to have a body so clean. Like I remember I couldn't even spray hairspray because I was like, oh, the toxins,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
chemicals, bleh, like oh, I can't go outside. There's too much smoke.
You're wearing a mask when you walk
Oh
around town
yeah,
and shit.
exactly. Like
Gloves.
I was so like my body. You want to talk about clean? Was like I remember like I was 100% raw, like 99.999%.
When you were the rawest or when you were the crack fruit? Which is crack fruit
The
day?
rawest was
rawest.
actually more raw than the crack fruit
Oh,
was.
what? Okay, I'm just
So I
trying to get
used
her handles
have-
right.
Yeah,
Girl with 88 handles.
I used to have I used to be crack fruit on Instagram, and then I was she's fuego. She's the rawest. She's fuego was lit. I wish I could have kept that,
Oh my
but they
God.
said that I was on this guy's YouTube channel, and he was like, make all of your handles match. He's like, because when people see you on anything, they're gonna look up that.
That's real.
Yeah,
That's
so
real.
he was like, just keep one. And then my Krystle chats came from my initial podcast, which is perfect because it's the same thing. It's Krystle chats. And then I had told this story, my horror story of like my final straw was when a host at a comedy show butchered my last name. And I went up with like I started my set like so embarrassed. And I was like, she clearly didn't know because, you know, if you know who somebody is, you know how to say their name.
Oh, legit.
You're not going to be like,
Muraz. Muras.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, okay,
Muras.
like you're not gonna be like Jerry Sinfield, Jerry.
Sienfeld.
Yeah, like you know, you don't just butcher. And then I told her too, I was like, don't say I'm from Newport Beach. I'm not from Newport Beach. I live in Costa Mesa, and I'm from motherfucking San Antonio, bitch. Like I'm hood. Like don't say I'm from there. And she's like, all the way from Newport Beach, Krystle Muras. I'm a bitch. It's Muras.
Muras.
Rhymes with the boss, bitch.
Muras.
No, yeah. So
Gotta roll the R's though.
and that's when I was like, it's chats. It's like I like it. It's easy, you know. It's relatable. It's cool. It's short. It could be short for Chatsworth. If people are like, "What the fuck is Chats?"
Crystal Chatsworth.
It's my middle name, last name, a lot.
A lot.
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Good for you. I'm glad you're clean. I'm following right behind you. I can't wait.
I'm
to
here for
be
you.
on a-
If I know you don't need any support because I know you
Super-
know what you're doing, but if I can throw any supplements your way that have been beneficial,
No, yeah,
I'd be like, pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, you're the one who got me on the herbs, man. Like, oh, I love being on those herbs. You know, the best shrooms trip of my life was one day I was at Moon Juice. I had some of the Ormus and then the Shilajit, and then I was at home. Oh no, I think I did they have like a sampler shooter
Though
thing
they got yeah,
where
the
you
flight.
like take the flight, right,
flight.
of everything, and literally that and some green juice was all I had to eat that day, and I thought it would be a great idea to eat a big ass cap,
And you were high as fuck.
and it was the best. I felt like literally a medicine woman. Like I was like looking at everyone's, and I could see their sickness, and like the beautiful people look beautiful, and then like the sick people look sick, and I was like, God, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a shaman. I'm a shaman woman, like, and that it was amazing, and I tell everybody it was the herbs that did that because it's you know, it works in a on like as a team. What
Synergistic.
you're right. You have to have the multiple
right.
things working together. I always tell that to my customers when they call about CBD as well. Like you have to have other things like working as a team if you really want to benefit from certain any supplement that you're taking. Like
And since we want to like let the people know what Ormus and Shilajit is,
yeah, go for it.
Ormus is a monoatomic gold that supposedly in high doses can help you levitate or have out of body experiences.
I didn't know the levitate part.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff about the ancient Egyptians. If you get into really weird theories about how they actually built the pyramids,
Okay.
there's some interesting stuff out there about sound technology and sound vibration. And Ormus regarding levitation. But anyway, they sell that at Moon Juice. You can get it in LA if you want to take a shot of Ormus. And Shilajit is
Yeah.
basically ground up rock dust from the Himalayas that helps you detox and get all the heavy metals and gross stuff out of your body. So
I need some of that right after this.
Shilajit?
Yeah, and Ormus. I want to go do all of that. And I was going to say, but also I recommend doing it after maybe you've like, maybe did it like a short fast.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
because
if
if
you
you're
just had a
pounding
big
like
meal,
hamburgers and shit, you ain't gonna feel it.
Right, and then you take exactly, and you want your money's worth. And then the only thing that I remember hearing about Ormus was like back in the day is when you know alchemy was coming about is that was like the fountain of youth. 'Cause they were like, this is what you drink.
Well,
to be
clearly,
young
well, it's
forever.
working because you haven't aged in the 6 years I've known you.
Oh, thank you.
Like for real,
Thank
like
you.
that baby butt skin, like just a couple of baby
Oh.
butt cheeks on that face, looking good.
I appreciate that.
For real.
I think
You have not aged.
You haven't either.
Oh, thank you.
When
When this comes off, it's jailbait status, so I keep this on to like keep the young ones away. Because if they see the gray beard, and I'm like, but then if they have daddy issues, then it doesn't really work.
yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
and
saying?
in
They're
LA.
like, Daddy,
in
it's
LA,
like,
it
oh
never,
boy, here's another
it
one.
never
Daddy
matters.
issues. Christ, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's another. Maybe we can get into that. Daddy
I have
issues.
mommy issues, so it's different for me.
That doesn't really work in the bedroom. Mommy
No,
issues. Daddy issues does.
Wait, I was gonna say something about
We got so goddamn distracted, didn't we?
No, it was about the Ormus and the not aging. You know what else though? That is, it's not just the food. Obviously, partially is genetics. Another thing too is I feel like karma.
Really?
For sure.
Really?
For me, I feel like some of it is just karma because like for example, I was talking to this gentleman who has he's going through a really shitty thing with his ex right now about how she's just basically dragging his name, and he's a really kind guy. I could see him being a little like maybe saying some mean things if he was maybe drunk or something, but not enough to where you're just completely like dragging and trying to just blacklist someone. And I told him too, I was like, well, that's something I'm proud of myself, is that no matter how much I like hate someone, and allow me to use the word hate, or like I just it would take a lot. Like maybe even when it comes down to the worst of the worst kind of human being, like you kind of have to have that, especially when you're in a podcast world or an interviewing world, where you're just like asking questions like, how did they get there? Because like that's one of the studies too about like serial killers, right? Is like most of them actually do have mommy issues. Not saying anything about myself. Yeah,
Glimpse.
right. Yeah. So so that's, and I told him, I was like, I think that's part of the reason why I like, knock on wood. I haven't had a lot of luck in the love department, but there's so many other parts of my life, and that's another thing is a lot of us woke folk talk about is the gratitude, that you're supposed to have, is that, yeah, I could focus on having a shitty love life every day of my life if I wanted to. And I guarantee you, if I did that, I'd look 10 years older. Why didn't it work out with him? Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
I'm so sad. I'm so depressed.
Self
And I-
pity.
Right.
Self pity.
And I'm like, no, well, guess what? I live in Los Angeles. You know how many people want to live here? That is awesome. Like, guess what? Like, I have a car that's paid off. You know, how awesome is that? Yeah. You know, all these freaking, what's the generation right under the millennials?
Oh, Generation Z? Is that what
Yeah,
they call 'em?
you guys are gonna be riding Lyft forever. You are so lazy. You don't even want to get a driver's license. I have a driver's license, bitch. Like that. I'm thankful for my driver's license. Fuck love. I have a driver's license.
It's a reasonable substitute, right?
Yeah, like you know, I have people and friends in my life, and I'm like, I can walk. I live in this neighborhood now, which is a beautiful neighborhood. But then across the street is I don't know, I think it's not necessarily a halfway home, but there's people like in wheelchairs, and they're always like kind of just like pushing themselves around like with their feet.
Oh yeah, scuttlebutt. Did.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Scuttlebutt. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, hey, scuttlebutt.
Hey, scuttlebutt.
You're right. They'll probably throw a rock at me or something. But I'm not in a wheelchair. Things like that I've always. My mom told me that she was like, you're so lucky, like that you have that and you're able to, because so many other people want to just dwell on the shit. And I've had some fucked up shit happen to me for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you know what? But I'm alive. And I get another chance. That's why I'm taking comedy so much more serious this time, because I almost lost that shot, you know, because my ex was not supportive in that sense. And I don't completely drag him. I say a lot of the good things about him, but he's a great example of how being with the wrong person is really the wrong thing, period. So
Cool. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the truth, Ruth.
Okay. So let's talk about you. So what's going on in your personal life? What's happening? I wanna...
Which aspect of it? You talking
So
about romance or what? There's a
yeah,
lot of aspects to personal
You
life.
said you just recently got out of a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
How long was that?
2.5 weeks ago. 2
Okay.
weeks ago. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough because I feel like there's the aspect of missing the person.
Was she at one point a fuck yes?
In the in the beginning for sure.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what I mean, I'll get into what transpired a little bit, but the thing I'm in right now, right, is this thing of like taking the time to like reassess what it is that I really want moving forward and the kind of energy I want to be around and what really matters to me in a container of a romantic relationship. And it's also the thing for me, the thing that I'm moving through right now is the most painful part, right, is not necessarily missing that person, although I do miss aspects of her and what we shared. It's more like the sadness and disappointment of the possibility of what it was possibly going toward. And we have no idea, right? That's just conjecture. That's me trying to predict the future. But what I wanted to have happen didn't happen. So the mourning is not necessarily so much that person as it was the possibility of what could have been or what I wanted to have be. So it's like that distinction between, is my heart broken or my expectations broken?
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important thing, I think, to make a distinguishing between. Is like, is my heart genuinely broken, or just because I wanted something to happen and it didn't happen, is that what got broken?
Well, maybe if you tell me a little bit about what happened, I can give you my opinion on what it is.
I mean, to me, well, how much do you want to know?
Well, you said it. You guys weren't dating for that long.
No,
were
we
you?
knew each other 3 months and we were dating 2 months, so it was still fresh. It was still in that honeymoon phase. You know what I mean?
Okay. What happened? Not so fast.
Yeah. Well, so she brought to my attention that she felt like I wasn't being totally vulnerable or authentic.
Okay.
And it's this thing of like, okay, well, I think I'm showing up pretty goddamn vulnerable and authentic, telling you about, shit with my dad and shit with my past and literally like, stuff that moved me to tears. Like, and then her thing was like, yeah, but you're being, she said something to paraphrase, like you're being Hollywood vulnerable. You're being Hollywood authentic. I'm like, what does that even mean? It's like, you're showing up not fully vulnerable. I'm like, so it was this thing of like me showing up how I thought I just like, this is who I am, right? If there are other layers we haven't gotten to, that's because we haven't gotten to them yet. And so I was in this confusion. It ultimately became
people who rush. Just relax.
It ultimately became this confusion, Krystle, of like, in my mind, right, and like checking with my closest peeps, right, because
Mm-hmm.
it kind of threw me for a loop. Like, okay, boy, am I full of shit? Am I Hollywood vulnerable? Whatever that means. And
No.
I check in with my people. Like, yo, if I'm full of shit, or I'm withholding, or I'm not fully vulnerable, would you tell me? They're like, of course we would tell you. Like, if you were showing up and like not being you, or being a version of you, or being something energetically we felt was like, who is this? Who the hell is this guy? Yeah, my peeps would tell me, and they're like, we don't know what the hell she's talking about. Like, that's good because I don't know what the hell she's talking about. So is this attempt to communicate of like, I want to hear your perspective of why you think I'm not being vulnerable and how I'm not being vulnerable. And it became this thing of like, when we see each other, because she also lived in Orange County, it was like, we see each other 1 to 2 times a week. And I asked you, right, is 1 to 2 times a week good for you? Do you feel good about that? Yeah, I feel good about that. And then it became this thing of like, I don't really know much about your life beyond when we see each other. I'm like, you do, because I've introduced you to all my closest friends. And I reach out to you every single week, like, babe, can we have dinner? Can we go out to eat? I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. And so I was trying to understand, is she trying to say like I don't call her enough? I don't text her enough in between seeing each other? Because I was in a state of absolute confusion, trying to understand what this perceived lack of vulnerability meant. And so I started calling her more, trying to get answers, and then it eventually deteriorated into this thing of like, her texting me about how I'm still not being vulnerable and I'm like being fake and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because I feel like in my heart, I am showing up as best as I can for real, like in my
Right.
heart. And if they have a version of me they're seeing, that's fine. But it doesn't feel like me. Like whatever they're seeing in me, and this is a tricky thing, Kay, right? Because like as people who are down for growth, right, and want to improve and want to be better people, I'm saying you and I,
Mm-hmm.
probably many of the listeners, right? Like we want to be better people. We want to be more loving and more compassionate, show up in the world, have good relationships. Is this thing of like, wait, okay, if there's something real here and I am full of shit or not showing up as vulnerably, I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I checked into it, I was like, you know what? The more I sit with this, I understand what she's saying in certain ways about like maybe I don't call enough if that's the thing. But as far as like a real ass person, I'm really real and I'm not holding shit back. I will tell you about the darkness. I will tell you about the pain.
Right.
I will tell you about what is going on.
Right.
So it ultimately became like
How old is she?
just turned 28
Okay.
and like a deep person, like a really like loving, conscious, like really dedicated. And the thing is like, I still have, feelings for her, and I think she is a wonderful person. But it ultimately came down to whatever you want from
So it's
me.
not over.
Well, no, but it's like whatever you want from me in this relationship. Like I'm giving you what I can give you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and like on the real, like when I texted her about like I think we should, because I broke it off. Like maybe we should not see each other anymore. I'm like, I like my solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something with whoever's going to be with me. I like my solitude. I like to work on
We
my
bonded
shit.
over that meme.
I do though,
Yeah,
and it's like
you
if you're
have
gonna,
to be better than my loneliness.
if you're gonna, yeah, for real, if you are going to be in a relationship with me, when I am with you, I am 100% with you.
Right.
I'm gonna give you my energy, my time, my love. Like when we are
Right.
together,
Yeah.
this is it. But when I'm doing my shit and I'm working on my music or my comedy or my projects or my food or whatever, I'm in that because that is
Right.
my career, that is my vocation, that is my work.
Right.
And so whoever I'm ultimately going to be with is going to have to understand when I'm with you, I will be 100% with you. But when I'm working on my shit, I like my solitude a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Exactly.
And some people are not down with that. So I don't have resentment or hatred for her at all. Like I care for her very, very deeply. And it's just like, look, what you want is something that I don't think I'm going to provide ultimately.
Yeah. I think.
I don't know. I'm still confused, honestly, Kay. I'm confused still.
So what I feel like some people, this maybe she did want to be separate again, and that was like so. What I feel like some women do whenever they're not so evil and they just flat out cheat on somebody to get the relationship to try to to try to be over, which
Yeah.
doesn't always work.
Yeah.
They pick a weird flaw or something like a little tick that they just want to point out and say, well, this is not feeling right. So there. I finally got the courage to do it even just recently where I told a guy, I was like, hey, like, I, s- I was probably mean because I was like, when I'm with you, I feel exhausted.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I was like,
That's real.
well, because I said, I was like, listen, I was like, I told him that too. It really made he lost all chances with me too. One time when I was headed to a show, and he's like, "Are you getting paid?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, wouldn't you rather be with me if you're not getting paid?" And I was like, "No, bro, this is like an internship, dog." Like, shout out to Alex Khan. He's like, this is something that we have to do. This is like rehearsal. This is practice. Like, if this is so incredibly difficult and challenging to do stand-up comedy
And
that
do
like,
it well.
and it is not something that it just happens. Like, you have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and for you to even think that that's a joke, and there's no way you'll ever even begin to understand what kind of person that I am. So, and I said, like, so between working in Orange County and trying to live here and do my podcast and do mics and make money and budget and walk my dogs. When I'm with someone, the one thing that I want to be able to feel is just some sort of peace. Like when we're together, like we just need to be able to exist. And like whether it's just like lying there next to each other and just breathing, like, what a day, what a mood. Like that to me is the goal. Like to find somebody who like you just like them and eventually love them so much that it's like, what are you doing? And you want them to be like nothing. It's like, great, I'm coming over to do nothing with you. Like, I just want to chill. I want to look at my phone and eat chocolate and just be a bum and not feel like I'm trying to keep up with you or something. Because his energy was just like kind of like go, and like he talked like a mile a minute, and I remember one time like he kind of asked me a question and I began to answer. He kind of like ran over and answered it for me, and I was like, no, that's it. I was like, I can't, and I'm not here to teach. Or at this point, I'm an old lady at this point now. I'm like, I know I look a little younger, but I just kind of, like you said, it's just something that happens, and which is why a shout out to one of the homies who was like, just stay off the dating apps. He's like, because my last two relationships I met them in the real world, and
yes, this is good.
Yeah,
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like I feel like dating apps is just online shopping, and
Amazon for people.
And how
For real.
often do you order something off of Instagram? I almost wore an Instagram shirt today, and again I put it on and I was just like, God dang it, this does not look how it looked in the picture. It's too small, or the material's whack. It's made in China. I don't want a made in China relationship. I want USA. Just
Union.
kidding.
I want a
No.
union relationship.
I-
Benefits.
Yeah, I just want something that's like, again, or let's be cliche, organic. It's just organic, like cool, like just like I like you, you like me, and then the whole pacing thing. Like let's just let the pace kind of happen, right?
Why is everyone in such a fucking rush? This is endemic, and I don't think it's just a LA. People are like, it's an LA thing. No, it's not. It's the same way in New
No.
York, Chicago, SF, Detroit. It's just this way all over the place. People now in this age of, because it's instant gratification is what we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
It's like that you can find a person to fuck tonight. You can order your favorite chocolate bars. You can get diaper delivery. You can order a mail order Russian bride still. You can find the right websites for black. You can order body parts online if you know the right web. Like you can order any damn thing you want now. So it's like, why should we take things slow? Because give me what I want right now.
Well, I was thinking that's kind of like what it sounds like with your relationship. It's almost like I felt like she was wanting you to say, oh, by the way, I'm madly in love with you and you're it for me.
Oh, no, and here's the real, though. Here's what fucked me up. I was starting to fall in love with her, okay? I could feel that. But I'm not the dude who's going to say, I love you, while I'm, like, feeling like I'm leaning into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm in it and I know it, it's a feeling. Like, I can feel it. It's genuine. It's like, I love you. But for me to say...
people off like that, because I'll say I love you too fast. And I'll be like, okay, but I'll tell you I love you right now. And it's like, but are my actions telling you that? So
that's, yeah.
I cannot stand it when girlfriends call me and say that. Oh, he said he loved me. Okay, well, did he show you that he loved you? Because he probably said you looked beautiful when you really look like shit too, didn't he? He probably, you probably made him some food or bought him something that he didn't like, but he said thank you and it was great. He probably told you a bunch of little white lies. And guess what? There was probably a time and a point in when you guys were together where you were just glowing and you looked beautiful, and in that moment he loved you. But just because you love somebody in the moment, like, you know, like it doesn't mean that they have to love you forever. You know, or they can love you but not be in love with you anymore.
Yeah.
Because love is just, you know, it's so universal. Like, you know, I can love this podcast, you know, and I wish I do, but it's like I'm not in love with it. I'm not gonna fuck it. Okay, anyways, no, but
What you gonna do with that mic right now? What is she
right.
gonna do?
No, but and that's the thing. So like to finish that point
Yeah.
with that, even I get, yeah, you're going down, falling in love, and that's why I don't understand why these people like. It's almost like they need you to say it so they can go, okay, okay. He said he wants me and only me for the rest of my life, and I'm good.
Yeah, but I can't listen. I
Yeah.
can't say things like that if I don't feel it and mean it. Like because
Yeah.
not only is that disingenuous, it gives people an idea of reality that isn't reality, and then I'm just saying shit to placate you. And I don't want to. Why would I say shit just to placate your ego? Like that's not my
Right.
job to placate your ego. Lied, like you said, white lies. Like if anything, like let's build a foundation of respect because I know you're going to give it to me. You're honest, you know, and maybe in all reality, like she was in her eyes, maybe she was genuinely perceiving me as not being vulnerable. But there's this thing, and as we close this little part of it, is like my idea of how I'm showing up in life versus how everybody else sees me. But then people have their own triggers and pain and projections, and then you have to decipher what's actually real. Right? You have to
And
decipher for yourself. Because everyone's got opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And just because you think that I'm not vulnerable doesn't mean I'm not vulnerable. You just perceive me as that way.
or you have this idea of what vulnerability is
That
and
I'm
you
not
want it
needing.
to look like that.
Yes.
And that is a no. Or it's okay because he's not ready to be that with you yet. So let somebody be their own type of vulnerability and then just be patient. Like to me, vulnerability is a waiting game. It just happens when it happens. It's like, okay, I'm ready to see your vulnerability now. Like it
Are you
doesn't.
ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Okay, go.
Go. Go show me. Show me right now. Show me right now.
It hurts
And it was
so
like,
bad.
but as trust and familiarity gets built, right? I think that is a natural outcome of trust and familiarity. As you build that with someone, you're going to show somebody more of who you are. But like to do it in a certain time frame or when you demand I do it is like,
It's
yo,
weird. That's controlling.
I can't just like show you tears or show you my pain because you like ask me to do it. I'm gonna do it when I feel it is appropriate and right to do that.
Yeah.
Like that's my decision. Because I like the whole thing about trust too, if we get on that right, like for better or for worse, I don't automatically trust people.
No.
It's something that's given and earned over time as you show me who you are and
I tell
trust is
people
built.
not to trust me because I run late. You know, I'm scared of people. I hate confrontation. So if I have to tell a little lie here or there to just like make myself feel protected, I do that. But I know that about myself, and it's like, but when people see, one thing that people will say about me too is that I do walk the walk too, as well. Like if I say I'm going to do something, it goes along with the whole discipline thing. Like I might tell a white lie, but I can go 10 days with no food. You know, like there's other things I can do. You know, like I'm cheese. I'm pretty about that life when I need to be, but oh, so we actually we have to have a part 2 coming up pretty soon for you and I because we got to like
Are you serious?
one bullet point and this thing is almost over. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen with us
Wow.
though.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun, Jason.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But but can we finish on like the juicy part for me?
Please.
I wanted to cheese. Sorry. Other boomerangs? Okay. I wanted to know if you don't mind, like the physical part of the relationship. Like do you feel that was that good? Was it part of the reason why do you think it happened so fast? Like the connection? Like, it's for me, I feel like that's something I'm very interested in. Like I love like sexuality and talking about it and the rules of it all and you know, why some people do things a certain way, pun intended. So yeah, if you
We went out on probably 12 dates before we even had any kind of physicality.
okay.
Probably 12, if I had to guess. 10 to 12.
Okay.
And I was totally cool with that. I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't like, oh, what's going on here? What's something wrong? It was just very much like hug, kiss on the cheek. And then one day we're hanging out on my couch and we're just watching a movie, chilling. And it was just like the kiss just happened. It wasn't forced. It was very natural. It was very beautiful. It wasn't like, oh, I've got to kiss her. It was organic.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
I love that.
And as we went on, there was a point where it was like, in terms of communication, right? Like not playing games with euphemisms. Like I remember asking her after we had our first kiss, it was like, hey, do you want to go to my bedroom and cuddle? And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to have sex with you. And I was like, I didn't ask you to have sex with me. I said, do you want to go and cuddle? Like when I ask you to cuddle, I'm not playing a euphemism game where cuddle means sex. Like I genuinely want to go to the bed and cuddle you.
You want to be at peace with somebody.
Like if I wanted to have
Yeah.
sex with you, I would be forthright and say, do you want to have sex with me? Like I don't
Yeah.
play games like that. It's like,
Yeah.
and I remember her, like we had a moment, it was like, oh yes, and it's like, yeah, if I want to say like, are you down? Like, do you want to have sex? Or feel into the energy of it. I feel like as we go, like I feel like I'm pretty in tune with reading energy where it's like,
yeah.
okay, like we're gonna have sex right now. Or like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
assume that if I say anything else or it means that, like I'm gonna be very direct with people.
Yeah.
I want people to be direct with me. So
Right.
the physical part of it was very, very beautiful because I felt like it was very honest and we were very compatible. Like, and I feel like the first kiss or two, like, like that
Oh,
first, the first kiss, I
absolutely.
was like, okay, this feels real good. Because there's been plenty of dates where the first kiss or the second kiss, and I'm like, this ain't working. Like something, the parts and the vibe is
Yeah.
not
Oh,
happening.
absolutely.
It's not happening.
I was in a full-blown relationship with somebody I didn't like kissing.
Wow.
And my ex, he wasn't really affectionate, and like, he said this thing where it was like luckily he was what is our time? 5 minutes. Okay. With that he luckily didn't have any kind of erectile dysfunctions or anything like that. So when we were together, he was like, "Oh, I just get sensitive." Like basically meaning like if he even touches me, then he's like, "Well, I'm gonna get a boner." Blah blah blah, and which is kind of a cop out for me because it's like, okay, well then just maybe you should get used to touching me, or something like that. Because I don't know how that works with dudes, but to me, like I didn't want to grow old like that. I didn't want to
Oh,
grow
no.
old like knowing that he's on one side of the couch and I'm the other side, and this is our relationship. And for him and me, sex was very transactional. It was just like, you want to go to the room, or is like, you want to do it? Like, you're like, let's have sex. I'm like, okay. Like
Like
high
like a
five.
business
Yeah,
proposal.
Yeah, like, want to have sex? It's like, all right. And I'm a very sexual person. So for me, especially if I'm in a relationship, like, which blows my mind because I hear a lot of comedians talking about how they like fuck their wife once every 2 weeks. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And well, yes, because I get, obviously not everyone is sexual, which is fine. And not everyone needs to be. And like some people just don't, whether they're insecure, they don't like it, or they don't have to. Or, some people are virgins, whatever. Like they just don't know if they like it or not yet. And the point is with him is like, that was a big deal breaker for me
Yeah,
too.
and it's important to know your love languages, right? Like legit, if physical affection, because that's number one for me is physical affection.
Wow,
Now
I
that
didn't know
that can
that.
that can mean sexual, but it also means cuddling. It also means
Yeah,
kissing me on my
like
forehead.
or
It
touching
also
your
means like a hand, like like comforting, like
Yeah.
all the ramifications. Of that,
too.
all of it, right?
It's not my number one, but yeah.
But for me, I'm clear that like long, and I'm gonna say this. I know it's declarative. But long distance relationships are off the table because for me, I don't feel loved to the depth I would like to if you're living in Mexico or Czech Republic or any women I met last year. It's like, oh, you live where? Like this ain't gonna work. Like
You
you live in a different country. Yeah. Yeah. You don't live in the Czech Republic though.
I know. I'm just saying.
But like the distance thing, right? It's like important to know on the real, like how you like to love and be loved. And if someone is not willing to understand that or speak that language, or just like you said, if physical touch or sexuality is near the top of the list, and someone is not down to be affectionate and loving and sexual,
No.
it ain't gonna work. It's not. You can't get around it. You just really can't.
Yeah, I had a friend who was like that. I know she's a sexual girl, and she tells me her stories, and I'm like, girl, you're a freak. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then she was talking about this guy that she was dating, and she was like, yeah, and then he kept trying to hold my hand, and I was like, I'm not really ready for that. And I'm like, you do not like him. stop it dating him right now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
trust me.
Yeah, if you're not
and
willing to
guess
hold his
what?
hand.
Now she's dating a guy who she cannot keep her hands off of. And
Right.
she's like, yeah, he tried to hold my hand and I loved it. I was like, obviously.
Yeah, because he's giving it to her freaky like she wants it.
Yeah.
That's probably.
Well, because she likes him. She likes him.
I mean, just saying though, that is a big part of it.
I am so disappointed that I have to say that we're going to have to just wrap it up soon. Like, we literally had
What 1/3 of the way through the list, if that.
about, yeah, you know, which is fine. Because Jason and I we have this bond where we can like literally talk for hours
And drop in.
So,
Yeah.
mhm,
So the
exactly.
sequel, people in Hollywood like the sequel though, right? So
Absolutely.
drop a sequel on that ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even like next week if you're available.
Okay.
Okay, because I thought this was amazing, and I love being around people that I have so much to learn from, and you have so much of that for me because it's obviously stuff that I want to know. I know a lot of people have stuff to teach me, but I'm not necessarily interested. So guys, thank you so much for listening. This is I'm so happy for this podcast because like last week I had Golly on, and then this week it's you, and it's been everything that I wanted it to be and more. So thank you so much for being here. Do you have anything that you want to plug? Any book launches? Any stand up? Anything that you want to?
Jeez, plugging things.
Because this is going to be released Monday.
Meow. I have a podcast coming up.
Ooh.
I'm doing it with my business partner and best friend Whitney. It's going to be launching in June.
Okay.
We have a new brand called Wellevator, which is WELLEVATR, and the name of our podcast is This Might Get Uncomfortable.
Ooh.
So talking about all kinds of massively uncomfortable,
great.
emotional, spiritual, mental, basically every damn thing. But we
Yeah.
are not shy about the topics. So this
Okay.
might get uncomfortable coming out in
I
June
like it.
2019.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good. Can't wait. And for me, guys, I have a bunch of shows coming up. Check it out on my website, crystalchats.com. Crystal Chats on Instagram. Crystal Chats on everything. Yeah. And shout out to the Comedy Pop-Up so much. This is amazing. And we'll see you guys next Monday.